I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about all of the movies that I watched from April through June. I've watched 11 movies altogether over the 3 months, and I watched 4 movies in April, 6 in May, and 1 in June. The first movie I watched in April was Little Monsters, which is a 2019 movie starring Lupita Nyong'o as an amazing kindergarten teacher, and Alexander England, a musician that needs to get his life together. The male lead's music career is floundering, and he loses his girlfriend and he moves in with his sister, her husband, and their son. And he ends up going to help with the little boy's kindergarten field trip. And then this field trip is ill-fated and there is a zombie invasion. In my opinion, Lupita Nyong'o, the kindergarten teacher, stole the show for me. She was absolutely fantastic. It takes a special kind of person to be an excellent kindergarten teacher. As someone who works in elementary school, I know this, and she is perfect. Her character is perfect for a kindergarten teacher. Also, the kids were all super cute and really added a lot to the movie. This was a really entertaining zombie comedy horror movie. Directed and written by Abe Forsyth, and I watched this on Hulu, and I gave it 5 stars. Next, I watched Sweetheart, which is a 2019 creature horror movie starring Kiersey Clemons, who is pretty much alone on a deserted island after an accident. There is some kind of monster coming after her. This movie was directed and written by Justin Dillard, and it is a Blumhouse production, and I watched it on Netflix, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was done really well for such a limited cast. She was pretty much alone on this island most of the time, and still the tension and the plot never dragged, the tension never ceased. It was really well done. I also watched Brain on Fire, which is a 2016 movie starring Chloe Grace Moretz, directed by Gerard Barrett, and it's based on a book by Susanna Callahan, which I have recently read and wanted to watch the movie. It is a true story about a woman who becomes very ill, and it's about the doctors slowly trying to figure out what is actually wrong with her. And it's very scary, and it gets very, very serious. I really love this movie. I love the book even more, but I still gave the movie 4 stars. And the last movie I watched in April was Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials, which is a 2015 movie, and is also a movie that I watched because I had recently finished the book Scorch Trials by James Dashner. And this is the second book in the Maze Runner series and the second movie in the Maze Runner film trilogy. It was directed by Wes Ball, and it stars Dylan O'Brien. The second book and movie is much different, very, very different from the first one, and perhaps a step downward because it tries to become so broad in scope and scale. I did like some of the elements that they added as they are exploring the world outside of the maze and how the rest of the world is. I thought it was very exciting and was really enjoyable. And I gave it 3.5 stars. In May, I watched The Platform, which is a 2019 movie that is in Spanish with subtitles that you can watch on Netflix. I'm really sorry if I get these names wrong, but the main actor is Ivan Masagu, and the director is Galder Gaztelu Urrutia. And this is set in a prison that is over 100 stories tall, and there is a platform that goes down the middle of the prison that brings food every day, once a day, down to all of the inmates. And it starts at the top and goes down to the bottom. So if you're on the bottom levels, as you go down the levels, you're less and less likely to get food every day. And they move all the inmates every couple of weeks. So sometimes you'll be on higher levels and sometimes you'll be on lower levels. And it is how these people have to survive and what they do when they're higher up and what they do when they're further down. It's a very interesting look at class. It was really disturbing at a couple of times. Once or twice during the movie, I thought, okay, I need to stop this movie. I can't go on. And I actually did stop it at one point and went and did something else. And then I came back and finished it the next day because I just didn't think that I could finish it. But then I was like, well, I can do this. So, it's a very effective movie if it draws that kind of response out of you. I gave Platform 4 stars. I also rewatched several of my favorites in May. The first one I rewatched was Annihilation, which is a 2018 movie starring Natalie Portman, directed by Alex Garland. And this is a very strange sci-fi movie based on a book by Jeff Vandermeer of the same name. And it's about something that lands on Earth and it creates this area called Area X that is doing some very mysterious things, and there have been many people that try to go in and investigate, and nobody comes out except one person, and he is really sick, and his wife and 4 other women go in to explore the area. And I don't want to say any more than that. There's a lot of strange, weird things that happen in Area X. Nothing like the book. I mean, it is a little bit like the book, but they are very different. Very different, the book and the movie. But I really, really love this movie. I just think it is the most entertaining thing. And I think it was my favorite movie of 2018. And I bought it, and I love to rewatch it every once in a while. So obviously I gave it 5 stars. I also rewatched Silver Linings Playbook, which is a 2012 movie starring Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence, and directed by David O. Russell. It has a great supporting cast as well. It's a a drama, and some pretty good comedy. Uh, Focuses a lot on mental health. The two main characters help each other out. It is so good. It is so good. It's one that my parents love and I love, and everyone, I recommend it to everyone, and everyone who watches it loves it. It's like one that everybody enjoys, seems like, and I gave it 5 stars. Next, I rewatched Happy Death Day, which is a 2017 horror movie, kind of a comedy slasher, I would say, starring Jessica Roth. It's a Blumhouse film directed by Christopher Landon, and it's kind of a slasher version of Groundhog's Day, where she has to relive getting murdered over and over, and it is really humorous. I love that gimmick. So it's another one that I like to rewatch quite a bit. It's not a high quality film like Silver Linings Playbook, but it is so much fun and I can't get enough. I gave Happy Death Day 3.5 stars. I also watched The Invisible Man, which is a 2020 film starring Elizabeth Moss. Elizabeth Moss. I love her so much. I think she's just the best actress. I love everything she's in. And it's directed by Lee Winnell, and it is a remake of a classic monster movie, and it's about a woman who escapes her abusive husband, and then he ends up dying, but it seems like he's still tormenting her. And I won't say any more than that. It is really well shot to increase the tension, and the acting is really great to increase the emotion. So really, really well done film. Gave it 4 stars, and I do recommend. It is really good. And I also watched Gretel and Hansel, which is another 2020 movie starring Sophia Lillis, who was in the It movies, and directed by Oz Perkins. This is a new take on the Hansel and Gretel story, where Gretel is the main character. It's very dark and it's very well shot. Cinematography was out of this world. It was kind of slow, which it seems that is why a lot of people don't like this movie, because it's more artsy than horrific. But I really loved just watching it. It was like a piece of art. I gave it 3.5 stars. In June, I only watched one movie because I was mostly just watching YouTube videos, but I did watch The Hunt, which is another 2020 movie, and the main characters, in my opinion, although it is big cast, is Betty Gilpin and Hilary Swank, and this is a comedy horror directed by Craig Zobel, and it's basically, there's a lot of political tension. There's a group of liberal people that collect conservative people and they put them in this area and hunt them down. That is a crazy premise, and it is very bloody, gory, lots of deaths, body count is high, but it's also a comedy, so I think it was funny most of the time. Sometimes I thought it was too over the top, but it was really enjoyable overall, and it pokes fun at both sides, at everyone. It exaggerates everything so that we can all laugh at ourselves. Or at least, that's what it's supposed to do. I definitely laughed. And I could see myself, like, only exaggerated in some of the characters. So I give it 3.5 stars. Those are the 11 films that I watched from April through June. I would love to know if you have seen these movies. What did you think of them? Did you think the same as me? Or do you think that I am completely wrong? And you must let me know. As long as you do it respectfully, let's have a conversation. If you like this video, you can hit like and subscribe, and I'll be back very soon with another book-related video. Thanks. Bye.